Hello, Bumpy McSquigums here, and it's time to continue with my weekly run series. This is week 34, and the game is Runers by LGK Games. And, dun dun dun, I figured I would probably showcase this because I put up voting for last week, and not to shortchange you, Captain Chaz, but it was only the one vote, and I always like to try to add new games when I get it. This just happened to come in like right after I put up the other one. So if there was a big influx of votes, I would have just skipped it until next week, but instead there was only one. So what I'm going to do is keep the same ones as last week as the voting for next week. So it's going to be Delver, Faster Than Light, and Hack/Loot. And Captain Chaz, you already chose Hack/Loot, so that's going to start with an automatic 2 votes. So if you guys want to see something different for next week, feel free to vote in the comments below. Either way, let's get into this game if we could. Now, I've reset my profile, so we are basically at the starting level of the game. And as you see here, we have these different spells unlocked. And what is Runers? Well, it's kind of difficult to say. It's similar to if you've ever played the game Hammerwatch or any of the old Gauntlet games. It's similar in that regard, as there's a bunch of enemies and you have to kill them, and you're moving around, and you have to shoot and dodge. It's kind of like a twin-stick shooter in a way as well. But then you have additional spells and things you can use, and you can combine stuff to make bigger and better spells. So it's kind of like Magicka in that regard. And then I suppose it's something like Binding of Isaac as well, because there's a lot of bullets and just stuff flying at you, and you got to dodge it and avoid. And it's quite unique. It takes a lot of stuff from a bunch of different games and kind of puts it all into one. So I'm gonna hop in here. And no, I would not like to play the tutorial. And it looks like there are a lot of really challenging difficulties. I have not beaten the game, unfortunately. It's pretty challenging, but I am going to play on regular. Oh, look at that. Splattercat's actually got the game as well. So this might end up being his weekly indie newcomer or something this week. So you guys can go check out his gameplay of it as well. But either way, I'm going to hop in, and I totally crushed his score, by the way, because I'm a bot. I don't know. I'm sure he probably did better already. Or, I'm not sure. Oh, look at that. He's actually done it on Wimpy. The coward. No, I'm kidding. It's probably a better idea. This game is really difficult, but we're going to hop in. Now, there's a lot here, and I'm going to take the time to not read necessarily the description of this, but basically what each thing does. So I'll take a little bit of time to do that so you guys can have an understanding for if and when you want to play. So let's go over here. You have a passive ability, a blessing or a curse bestowed upon you. So the Blessing of the Human, plus 5% to all stats. It sounds like a good one. The Blessing of the Elf, a Study Buddy, plus 2 to all rune levels, but minus 2% to all stats. That kind of sucks. The Green Fury is the Blessing of the Orcs. Damage is increased by 1% for every 2 life missing, and it caps out at 50% bonus damage. Then we have Sturdy Stone Skin from the Blessing of the Golem, and that's a defense increased by 5% per second. Defense caps out at 30%. Taking damage will reset the defense bonus. Interesting. So basically you can build up, and if you get hit once, you take reduced damage, and then if you avoid getting hit again, your defense builds back up. That's kind of neat. The Blessing of the Dryad, it's Nature's Caress. 80% of all damage taken is healed over 20 seconds. So that's pretty sweet. However, damage taken is increased by 200%, so could be a blessing, could be a curse, no one knows for sure. Then we have the Blessing of the Centaur. Health packs give an additional 11% movement speed, 15 defense, and 60% knockback each. Taking damage reduces the buff, 40% knockback, blah blah blah. Oh, that's interesting. Now, is that a permanent boost or a... I'm not sure. That could be interesting. The Blessing of the Efreet. The Efreet. Touching an enemy lights them on fire, taking 4 damage plus 1 for each floor discovered. Damage is non-stacking and dealt over 3 seconds. But you deal 10% less damage overall. Shade's Wrath. Now, I've used this one. It's kind of cool, but there's certain challenges in like quest levels or areas, and you'll see in the game, where this is actually a problem. Every 0.15 of a second, shoots a bullet in a random direction that does 2 damage plus 0.25 damage per floor discovered. So basically, like, what is that, like 4 times a second, you have just random bolts of energy shooting off in any random direction. It's kind of cool because it's a lot of extra damage, but again, it can get you into trouble, so It's good and bad. Blessing of the Wisp. Non-spell pickups are drawn toward the player. Health packs return 3 less life. Dropped runes always have 2 mods when double strength. Huh. Alright. The Curse of the Spirit. Every spell cast gathers energy after 10 seconds worth of cooldowns have been gathered. Gain phased for 1.5 seconds. We have the Blessing of the Dwarf. Damage increased by up to 40% when near an enemy. This bonus is reduced by up to 70% when far away. So I guess if you want to go with a melee class, I don't know if there necessarily is 100% a melee class, but if you were to go more melee oriented, that would be a pretty good thing to have. The Blessing of the Gnome. Alchemizing. Up to 30% of all, or up to 30% to a random stat, or +3 to all rune levels, up to -10% to a different random stat, or -1 to all rune levels. These stats change every room. Ooh, that's weird. Alright, Curse of the Vampire. Exploring new room modifies your defense, bullet speed, movement speed, crit damage, increasing them up to 54%, but also lowering them as low as -18. Well, that's a risk versus reward thing right there. Curse of the Demon. Bullet speed and bullet size are increased by 12.5% per second. Buff caps out at 50%. Shooting a spell will reset the bonuses. So if you don't shoot a lot, that's the way to go. The Genie gets a random buff every time you take damage. Buff strength is based off the amount of damage taken and lasts for 10 seconds. Blessing of the Chimera. 7% chance per spell cast to cast a copy of the spell. The bonus cast triggers unique effects separately from the original spell. Interesting. And the Goblin. For each nearby enemy, gather energy. When enough energy is gotten, all nearby enemies are slowed for 10%, stacking 5 times. Oh, for 5 seconds, sorry. Cooldown of all non-damaging spells reduced by 20%. And that was of the Fairy. Of the Serpent Folk, every non-crit increases crit damage by 2%, crit chance by 1%. Every crit reduces it, so it's kind of an ebb and flow. I think I'm going to go with the Orc. I really like the Blessing of the Orc. The more you get hit, which I will get absolutely massacred and mauled all the time, you actually gain additional damage. I'm sorry guys, my nose is like just absolutely hating me right now. It's fine though. Alright, let's see. Paladins causes every source of damage to create a damaging nova of energy for 2 seconds. Not too bad. Blocks all damage for the next 4 seconds. These are the special abilities of the different classes. So it's a swamp mummy, not money. Mystic? Well, I don't know. Maybe he's made out of money. I mean, he is kind of green. He could be a greenback, huh? No? Okay. All gooey from the swamp. Alright. We have the Mystic, and next spell cast has a +15 to all rune levels. Wow. This bonus extends past the maximum rune level of 10. Rangers. Focus fire up to 5 seconds, releasing a flurry of arrows based on time spent focusing. Oh. Okay. Priest of Thoros. Cures all debuffs. The Barbarian. Shout and throw a weapon in front of you. The shout slows nearby enemies by 25% for 5 seconds, and the weapon pierces through enemies, dealing damage upon hitting a wall. The weapon stuns all nearby enemies for up to 3 seconds. Alright, let's see. The Cultist of Prevnik. Curses all enemies on screen for 10% movement speed and plus 10% cooldowns for 5 seconds. We have the Demonic Warlock. Shoots out a bolt that does no damage but has extremely high knockback and causes the target to take damage for 3 seconds based on the distance traveled. Then we have the Blade Storm. Charge at any point doing area damage along the way, and that's the Duelist. Then we have the Soldier. Charge an enemy and do high damage to the first enemy contact. Huh, interesting. The Cut Purse. Steals a buff from your enemy and gives it to you with increased duration. The Bard has a distracting melody. For 5 seconds plays a song, and nearby enemies are stunned. That's not bad. I've actually used that one before. Crippling Poison applies a poison to an enemy, slowing them and increasing amounts as the poison does damage. And that's a Highwayman, even though he looks kind of like a ninja. No, maybe a pirate. It kind of looks like a tricorn hat, I suppose, and I can't tell. He's got like a bandana around his eyes. Alright, and then we have the what is that? Deific Assassin. Next attack has a 100% critical strike chance and does damage to all enemies in the area. Nice. Druid. Bring out your inner animal for up to 10 seconds, improving move speed, damage cooldowns by 15%, decreasing defense by 50. You may cast this again to end the effect early. And then we have the Rogue Magus, or Magus. The Grandest Magus. Fires 2 current spells with no cooldown. Let's see. Teleports all entities and destructibles in the room to a random spot. That's the War Diviner, or Diviner. Then this crazy mage with the ginormous eyes. Look at those things. He's like, Wah! I think he just sat on a staff. I don't know. He's a Spirit Keeper. Summon 8 light spirits that blast from your location. They distract enemies and have a large light radius. That's pretty cool, actually. And then we have the Corpse Creeper, which is also pretty cool. He summons 2 zombies that distract enemies and explode in a poison cloud on death. So I think I'm going to go with the Duelist. I think he's got some stuff. And we're going to go with random starting spells. I don't know. Let's see what we got. Alright, the Duelist with the Blessing of the Orc. I feel her deep beneath the ground. She calls to me, and I feel my shame. Alright folks, floor 1. Alright, so this is how the game plays out. You basically move way faster than I originally anticipated. Excuse me, and it seems like we actually have the same thing I had the last 2 times I played, and this is the Mind Rune attack. Actually, I don't know what it's called. Let's take a look here. It's Mind Spike, alright. It's kind of cool as it does actually pierce through enemies and hit things behind it. But that's not necessarily the best of things. Alright, so let's take a look here. So we have our health in the top, along with the experience below. We haven't gained any experience. Our buffs, or debuffs, because sometimes when you go into random rooms you get debuffs. This mystical thing usually means there's a challenge behind the door. So we're going to go here and... Nope, it actually doesn't have a challenge behind this door, unfortunately. So we're going to run around and avoid everything for a little bit, and then we're going to use this ability to charge into them, and now we're just going to start laying in. So basically you just roam around, you try to dodge stuff, and do massive quantities of damage to enemies. And oh, I trapped myself. I guess I couldn't get past the stump. I got stumped by the stump. I know, it's sad. I'm just going to kind of get up in their business and just own them, I guess. I don't know. It's not the best of ideas, but it works. It's got its own merits. So as you see, I did not do a very good job starting off here. But we made up for it a little bit, and there's a light rune and a heart. And the hearts are obviously health. And say you get full health, you can actually leave the hearts behind, along with the runes and everything else. You have a map, so if you get lost, well, at least you know what's going on. Oh, there's an aura. That's what that particular thing meant. Alright, I gotcha. Increase bullet speed by 20%. That's the room aura, so we actually shoot faster while in here. Okay. And we're going to just charge through them like that. And then we're going to try to do a lot of damage as we stay on the move and try to avoid enemies murdering our faces. They do like it. They don't just like murdering like us in general. They specifically aim for the face. They're like, you know what? If we're going to murder you where it counts. Right in the face, right in the mouth, right in the mush, as they say. It's fine. It's fine, you know. It's okay. I personally prefer to murder souls, so I mean, if that's, you know, I don't mean the bottom of your feet either, I mean literal souls. So, you know, if you're going to go for the face, I'm going to go for the soul. I think in the end, I might look uglier than you, but I think I'll win, because if you have no soul, or it's dead, well, you're kind of a dead person. If I have a dead face, I don't know, maybe I'll be a really good action actor. What are they, action adventure actors? I don't know. Sure. We'll roll with that. Alright, onward we go. Full health once again. Oh, and we got some more nasty guys here that seem to want to kill us a lot, so we're going to do our charge through. Now the beetles apparently get stuck on objects sometimes. If you can kite them into objects, they will not enjoy it very much. Now this big giant green thing here that's kind of going around doing stuff, that basically gives a temporary buff for anyone in the aura area. So I could have, well, I did stay in it, and it gave me whatever buff that it was actually given out to the enemy as well. So it was sweet, sweet nice. You know, you have to be able to utilize that. Alright, so here we go with another mystical thing. It either means there's going to be an aura or an event in the room. I think the white ones are auras, and the green ones are events. I'm not sure there's any other colors. Alright, so we charged as far as we could. We did a lot of damage to the rats. The rats are dead. Now we have to deal with all these fellows. They don't seem very thrilled with us right now. which is okay. They don't have to be thrilled. They just have to die. Oh, I did not kill him. I underestimated how much damage I did, or overestimated how much health he had. I don't know. There was estimation going on, and it was not good. Alright, either way, we managed to defeat it. We are awesome. We are doing well. First time I played, I don't know if I just didn't notice there were extra doors, but I only had like one room before the floor ended, and I was like, oh my gosh, or I just went down, maybe? Didn't realize you can go back up. So it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't good at all. Alright, let's take a look at our map. Let's say we can head east here, so we shall. Go to the right. Alright, we have some giant rats here. Looks like we really didn't get to do much with our charge. And you'll see at the top of the screen the cooldown's constantly going. So I'll eventually combine some spells and get some new stuff fairly soon, but right now that's just not in the cards, unfortunately. Fortunately, we are waiting until we have to get something called a combiner, I think it is, or a dual combiner or something like that. And once we have that, then we can do whatever we want. Ow. You were stuck in a corner. You were supposed to stay stuck in the corner and not shoot me. I put baby in a corner for a reason. That reason? So I don't get killed by you. Alright, now we have to kill the brain thing. Oh wow, I've never had one like charge at me before. That was interesting. And you'll see that my aim is immaculate. Alright, so this is a green, sparkly, steamy, smoky room over here, so there's a pretty good chance there's a challenge in this one. So we'll have to assume that's the case, and the challenges are like basically quests for the games. So you go in, everything's frozen, and if you hover your mouse over it, says Shrinkify. You are getting a strange feeling this is a trap. So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to walk over to that, and I'm going to get turned real small. The thing's going to get really large, and we're going to zoom in, and then we're going to have to fight all these things. So let's do it. Okay, and here we go. And we're going to try our very best to kite these little ratties out. And I think we're doing pretty good so far at this. We have 2 left, and then we have to go find that final zombie that's up in the top doing something. I don't know what he actually does. Maybe he debuffs us? I'm not sure. This guy always just seems to like walk into walls, and he doesn't seem to do anything else. There we go. So we did an event, and we get a reward for it. So we can get a double combiner. This is one of the things I was looking for, but I think I would rather go with a permanent advantage. So we're going to go with the plus 5% damage, and we managed to level up off of that as well. So, after picking up a health pack, negate the next hit you receive. That's pretty sweet. Increase your movement speed by 10% and lower your friction? I don't know what that means. Let's see, class specialization. Reduce the cooldowns of your class ability by 7%. That's not terrible. Or sacrifice 10 maximum hit points to gain 10% damage permanently. I know oftentimes you can get an additional 10 health, so that might be worth it, honestly. I think I'm going to do that. It might be a terrible, terrible mistake, and it does seem very, very risky, but it might be worth it. If I can end up getting another level and gaining the 10 health back, it's definitely going to be worth it. Alright, oh, so bullet duration is what we actually get to increase. Alright, and we got our first double combiner there. Now, I really haven't been paying attention. I've just kind of been playing around with the spells. Just checking out a couple different things. Like, I think if you do 2 rocks or 2 earth runes or something like that, you end up getting to be able to place a destroyable rock. It seems kind of stupid and silly, honestly. I don't think that's a very good spell, but there seems to be quite a few. Well, there's 285, I think, is what the count is right now. Quite a few different spells that you can do. Alright, so we're going to open up our quote-unquote inventory here, and we're going to take a look. So we can combine any 2 of these and get something more from it. So I think I'm going to try the dark rune and then the light rune and see what that does. We have duality opposites. Alright, double trouble. Combine your first spell. Alright, and what does this do? Makes a large area of unholy energy that causes enemies to take increased damage while inside of it. That seems pretty sweet. And the damage amp is increased by dark runes. So you see down here, you have a light rune which will increase the duration of the blob of stuff we put down. And then the dark rune you can add that will actually increase the damage amplification that gives. Right now we don't have any of those things, so it's not really going to help us. But either way, it's okay. So let's see what this does here in just a second. And boom. Oh, and it's actually got quite a long cooldown too. But that's okay. That's okay because it lasts for about 10 seconds, almost as long as the cooldown is. Yeah, it's about 15 seconds to cool down and it lasts about 10, so that will help us quite a bit, in fact. So we're going to try to use our little amazing thing here to actually get ourselves a little bit ahead. I can't guarantee it's going to work, but we're going to give it a shot. We're going to get ourselves some health upgrades as well. It's going to be sweet, sweet, nice. And there we go. There we go. Maybe? No? Yes? Maybe? Yes? Yes. Alright, we got another double combiner. Trying to avoid the brain drain over here. I'm so bad at hitting certain things. Die. Acid. Oh my gosh. Why is this so difficult to kill? Oh, that was so bad. I'm sorry, guys. That was mildly embarrassing. Slightly off-putting. But either way, we managed it. And what is the aura in this one? Looks like a negative aura. It's a debuff. Lowers dark rune levels. Well, that's unfortunate. So our damage amp was actually lowered there. Alright, this seems to just be a storage room where we can get different crates and boxes and things opened up and see what's going on. And that's pretty much the end of this particular area here. So it looks like there's 2 places we have yet to go, and I don't think we've unlocked, no we have not. We have not unlocked the actual stairs down to the next level, but so far I think this is going pretty good. This may be a 2-episode thing, maybe 3, 4, 10, I don't know. It really depends on how well I actually do. I gotta say, I figured it would take about 15 to 20 minutes for me to actually die a horrible death. That's usually what happens, but I knew it was going to take a little bit longer with explaining everything to you guys as we went through, so I feel pretty good about actually letting you guys know what's out there, and there's going to be more stuff unlocked. I don't know if they're planning on adding it or if it's unlockable now. It seems like it's unlockable as far as different character classes and perks and things of that nature. But as it stands right now, the game is quite fun. Alright, your defenses are down. The damage amplification is coming through. We are getting pummeled though. Alright, these yellow dudes, they suck. They shoot this horrible, like, light spell at us, and it's really hard to dodge because they just constantly, it will fire at, like, full range of the entire map, and it's really, really quick. Alright, well, so far so good. And if we can just aim the right spot and lead them the right way. Ow. Stop briefly there. Oh, you got me again. Alright, we managed to defeat him. Surprise! Alright, sweet. So I'm pretty, I don't know, I'm pretty excited, guys. Xenonauts has ended, and Halfway is available and out and running, and the series, I don't know, some people seem to like it. I actually really enjoy playing it. So I'm glad that I was able to get my hands on that game, and I'm glad I'm able to actually cover it now, too. I think it's going to be a nice transitional game. Oh, almost got myself trapped. Alright, well, we got through one guy. I somehow managed to accidentally pick off another one, and by accidentally I mean totally intentionally. Yeah, I'm just going to like run into people from now on. Makes more sense. It's less depressing. And we said good day-ish, sir? Alright, well, we're just going to continue to miss that guy over and over. Alright, another double combiner. So, let's see what kind of runes we have now. Alright, we found our staircase down. There it is, right there on the floor. But we're not quite ready to leave just yet. We can still head east, and we will, but not before we do this. Alright, we have a water and a fire rune. We have a fire and an earth. Let's try a fire and earth. I don't know what that's going to do, but it might be cool. Let's give it a shot, and boom. And what did that give me? That gave me mini meteor. Huh. It does damage, dot damage, and size. So what you can do is you can grab one of these and add it here, and it increases the dot damage by 1, which is pretty sweet. I don't know how long that's going to take, but I think I'm going to switch these two. So let's see how long this takes, what the cooldown is. Oh, it's actually a little bit of a delay. Alright, well that's good to know. That could be kind of fun. Especially if things chasing you. Alright, it's working out pretty good, I gotta say. I'm mildly impressed. Got the brain guy down. Oh, I'm not sure where I did that one. And we got him, and we got another level up. Earn 15 experience on shattering a double combiner and 50 on shattering a triple. I didn't even know you can shatter things. Huh. Let's see, floating, there's the movement speed. We can be luckier, I don't know what that does either. Critical strikes reduce your target's defense by 10%. Let's go with this. Movement speed. I don't know what that's going to do necessarily, but I mean, other than obviously making us move faster, but it said that we had less friction. Not sure what that meant. Maybe we drift more before we change direction. I don't know. I'm not really a frictionologist, so I couldn't really comment on it, but alright, looks like we have one room left to go through. And it's always a good idea in pretty much any kind of roguelike games, because this is all randomly generated, so you want to clear out everything you possibly everything you could possibly clear out in each floor, because if you don't, well, it's going to be bad juju magumbo. Just saying. Alright. Well, I think one of the coolest parts about this whole meteor thing is I can actually place it on the other side of the cover. There's not much that they can do about it. There we go. So if I'm down here and I want to do that, see, I can actually hide behind stuff and still cast spells. That's pretty sweet. I didn't even know that. That's a pretty good thing. So I'm gonna have to remember fire and earth is definitely a spell I'm gonna want to update and continue on with. And yeah, that's really cool. In fact, I'm going to add another one to it right now, and if we get another earth one, I'll definitely increase the size of that as well. Alright, it looks like we are good to go to the next level, guys, and before we do that, I might break off this episode, guys. So it's going to be one of the rare occasions lately where I actually have more than one episode in the weekly runs. Yeah, that basically is a testament to my lack of skill in these sort of games that I've been playing lately, but it's okay. It's okay. Alright, and it's the next room, and before we head down, ladies and gentlemen, I will break off the episode. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. If you enjoyed, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. This is going to end the first episode of the Weekly Runs series, week 34. The game, once again, is Runers. And if you liked what you saw here and you want to see more, well, check out my next episode, and go check out and see what Splattercat did whenever he posts his video. Until then, my name's Bumpy McSquigums, and I will see you later.